Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Git, and welcome to the Alpha Type Podcast. EJR has the day off today, so I'll be flying solo. And I am just super excited to welcome today's guest to the show, dailofrog. I didn't even find out if I'm pronouncing that right, so that's what we'll start with. dailofrog, welcome to the show. Am I pronouncing your name properly?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
I can. Sounds loud and clear.
Okay. The Riverside app is frozen,
Oh,
but
boy.
I can still hear you. So,
Okay. Yeah, it
yeah, I
says
mean,
you're
it's,
all good.
it's okay. I'll just leave it at this state. Um, yeah, it's pronounced dailofrog. Dailo is like
Dailofrog,
it's like a
right?
Cantonese word for mafia boss. So if you
Ah,
see any of
okay.
those like old school like mafia movies from like the 80s, they always go like dailo when they're
All
talking
right,
to
all
like
right.
miss. Yeah, I
Very
just thought it was
nice.
cool.
I'll pick
Yeah.
up on that every time now for the rest of my life, I'm sure. So very cool. But no, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today, talk about your work. You're like, in my eyes, a prolific on-chain artist, experimenter, everything else. Exactly the type of person that I'm interested in following along with and collecting and everything else in this space. So super excited to dive in. What I want to start with is give you a chance just to high level, just background, like what is your skill set and like how did you arrive into making on-chain art in the first place?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I've been doing this NFT stuff since 2021. I on my I guess my doc's name, I've been doing a lot of generative work. Like creative coding, kind of procedure generated visuals. And then, when I guess like what do you call it, resurrected my like NFT career with in 2023 with this dailofrog moniker. I decided that with this run, I wanted to go really hard on chain art because I really believe in, artifacts being permanently on chain. The more I think about it, the more convicted I became. And, my whole thing with Dilo Frog now is just on chain maximalist. Everything has to be 100% fully on chain. And that's kind of what I've been preaching and also what I've been creating. If you see
Okay.
my works in the past, it's all like 100% on chain.
Yeah, right on. Why is that? What is it about on-chain that you think is so important that you're pushing it as hard as you are?
I mean, and there's a lot of reasons. My background has been in game development, web development as well. And as you know, like the dead links theory or whatever, there's about 70 plus percent of the websites links out there are complete dead, and it's going to converge to 100% soon, right? If you try to play old video games, like network games, none of them work because then it's not profitable. They turn the server down, and now it's just like a complete dead game, dead experience, right? I think like in general, NFTs, they use Cloudflare, IPFS, and with the recent like artifact debacle, the highest, what do you call it? The one of the biggest NFTs, right, backed by Nike, $86 billion
Yep.
company, could even maintain, the Cloudflare image servers
Yep.
for their, the Clone X's, and if someone as big as Nike can't even do it, then how do you expect normal people to? So I think in general, unless you're constantly like pinning, like in the IPFS case, if you unless you're constantly pinning, the images, or in the Cloudflare case, if you're constantly having to pay money, monthly subscription for the service fee, it requires active effort for people to constantly make these artifacts like alive. And I really feel that the tension, the friction to do that is much higher than the eternal lifespan of a chain. So eventually, I think
Yeah.
all like non-on-chain NFT JPEGs are all going to die like in a long enough time span. So for me, I like the idea of like whatever I create will live on forever as
Yep.
long as the chain exists. And that's as a concept, I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I think you're spot on. Eventually, right? Like these things won't be maintained, and they will fall down and fall apart. And just
Yeah.
the on-chain stuff will remain. I think that's a really good point. And I've obviously like have on things that are not on-chain that I like, and I'm happy to own and collect. But I very much
Yeah.
prefer the on-chain stuff. even not even so much looking out on those long-term horizons. It just like the concept of it feels more real to me, and it feels like you're
Mhm.
more in control of the thing, which I feel like then therefore really gives you that ownership. And I think that's pretty cool. The other thing I really love about on-chain, both for art and for things like games and that, is just the the composability of it and the fact that people can then build on the stuff because it is there. It fully, like the contracts are, what part of the contracts are on chain that you can work with, the art's on chain that you can work with, etc. So it gives it
Mhm.
the opportunity to take on a life of its own, if you will. Um, do you
Yeah,
agree with that sentiment as well?
yeah, I feel like 100%. Like, if you really believe in like the blockchain super thesis, right? That things are immutable, forever, and permanent when they are inscribed on chain, then as an artist, if you want to propel this culture and this like hyper theory of like forever artifacts, right? Every block is
Mm-hmm.
committed, is foreverly like enshrined, right, in the blockchain. You want to do that with the art as well. I think it's like aligned with the culture. And honestly, like, I also, try to collect art as well. And obviously, most of them on Ethereum are off chain. But I really feel like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of devs who, they push their NFTs as like these like blockchain artifacts when it's just like even like a Cloudflare server, I
Yep,
do
just a
feel it
pointer.
is kind of, yeah, I do feel it's a low form kind of grift, to be honest. Like I know it's like a very maximalist position, but maybe a lot of people don't really realize. They think they put it on IPFS is cool, but as you see, like all like IPFS nodes get cold all the time. It's not nothing about it is permanent.
Yep. Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally with you. So let's talk about your kind of diving back into the space in 23 where you decided you were going to hit it really hard. First thing, at least from looking at it chronologically from my perspective, the first thing I'm seeing as you picking up on base or on the what they call it, like the summer of base or base summer or whatever when they launched the
Yeah.
chain. Is that really where you kind of dove back in?
Yeah, I was doing like in 2021 era, I was doing a lot of NFTs in the generative art space. Like I know now it's like a lot of pixel art if you look at my
Mm-hmm.
portfolio, but back then it
Yep.
was all like procedure generated geometries.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I got like really deep in that, right? And then I think I got a little burnt out doing it because how should I say, like a lot of people they were like towards the end of that run, I think a lot of people were just like minting my stuff just because of my name and not really
Right.
for what I was actually creating. And it a little bit bothered me, right? Because I wanted people
Okay.
to really understand like this is like view the art for how it is, not just because they're just like, oh, this person dropped this and like we gotta grab at it. Honestly, it's kind of happening now with dailofrog, but I want to like completely reset. So I took like a few years off, and in 2023, I saw like Base was about to launch their mainnet, and I got pretty excited because Coinbase huge platform, L2s were
Mm-hmm.
kind of a huge narrative back then. It just felt like a right play, and I was able to deploy Base's first NFT collection, which is Tiny Base Frogs, which is my part of my like PvP avatar as a Tiny Base Frog.
Yep.
And since then, I've been deploying a lot of like collections across Base, across other chains on ordinals, Unichain, etc. Hyperliquid.
Yep. Yep. I'm going to pull up your link tree right now. Give us a frame of reference to look at. And so, starting with the tiny base frogs, each
Mm-hmm.
of the, like as I drill into each of these collections, they each have like their own little story or angle to them, if you will. So,
Yeah.
what was the special thing about tiny base frogs? Because I know that, like I said, they each have like a gamified component to them or something like that.
Yeah, I view NFTs as not like these static images, static JPEGs or whatever. I view them like I feel like 2021, a lot of it was about like these static images, but I really
Mm-hmm.
felt like the future of NFTs, like if there were to be another wave, another cycle, was going to be all about like interesting dynamic on-chain mechanics and game theory, right? So like Tiny Base Frogs, I think has a lot of interesting stuff going for it. I think one is like it has cute pixel frogs. Two is like the first NFT on base and also the first on-chain collection on base as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, it's like deflationary as well. As so,
Yep.
the total supply there's 1,000 of them, and how it works is there's a few mechanics you do. All this all on chain. You could, if you don't like your frog, you could re-roll it And then the issue with or not the issue, but then the risk of re-rolling is that there's a 33% chance that re-rolling it will kill the frog permanently, and it will like soul bound that token to your wallet, which means it becomes untradeable, untransferable.
Yep.
And I guess there's another mechanic where you can set your frog as like base, which also soul bounds your wallet to your wallet, but you get like this really like golden platform under it. It's like, oh yeah, this frog's base. You like fuck with this like culture, right?
Yep.
And then, since I launched in August 2023, it's been generally net, or not generally, it has been net deflationary because it could only go down as these tokens get soul bound and kind of removed from the pool. So, I am kind of curious how in the long term what like supply will land at.
Yep.
Um,
How many of them?
yeah,
How
that's
many of the frogs have been killed? Do you know roughly?
I think soul bound maybe like less than 10.
Oh, okay.
Five,
That's
and
not too bad.
then a few got re-rolled. I get it. Like people, they want to be able to sell it, right? I think right now it's like 0.18 ETH.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it went all the way to 0.8 or something. Then the last like wave.
Yeah, you don't want to
Um,
burn that. Well, not burn
but
it, but
like
stake
I
it. Yep.
think, yeah. I think I think the concept is interesting. It has like an interesting game theory. So
Yep.
NFTs in general, it's not just about images, pixels. It's about like mechanics as well,
Yep.
and that's what's important to me.
Yeah, right on. No, and it shows. It shows, and I think the viewers will see that as we step through these collections because there's mechanics to all of them, and they're all unique. It's not like you do the same thing over and over again. It's like each one's its own little, new approach to experimenting with the blockchain, which I love. How about based? Have people actually taken the option to base their frogs?
Yeah, if you go on OpenSea and you
Let's see.
sort by like based, I forget what the trade is called, but you can see how many of them. I think, yeah, there are quite a few now.
Okay. Let's see.
Sorry, my phone's kind of it's like frozen, so I
No,
can't do
all
anything
good,
really.
all good. You just talk me through it, and I'll track it down. So I'm looking at, well, there's a soul bound. So if I say yes to soul bound,
Yeah, yeah, click on soul
There's
bound.
14 of them,
Yes. Yeah.
and
Okay, so
free.
14 have been forever permanently removed from the supply.
Okay, and you can tell the difference. And I see a dead one here too. So the dead one's just the skeleton, right, with a black
Yeah.
background, and then you can see the rest of them are on platforms. So yeah, just a couple of dead ones, couple of based ones. That's cool. All right, awesome. So this kicked you off, and it looked like you did a bunch of stuff that summer on base or right around that time. Right? Because you also did some on-chain cubes, which sounds like that was kind of going back to your 21 days a little bit, right? With the more about the generative geometry and things like that. Is that what you were talking about? Like the type of work you were doing? I didn't lose you, did I? All right, we'll give him a second. I know that Tyler was having a
Oh,
little bit of trouble with the app. There you are.
okay. I think the app finally crashed.
Finally crashed.
I'm back now.
It hung on for a while. It's all good. I think that, yeah, I think we've been having an interesting experience with the phone apps. They've been out for a
Hmm.
while, so I would assume that they've worked out all their kinks. But the app, the last couple times people have connected with the phone app, we've had some connectivity issues, so we'll have to work on that. But so I don't know what you heard before you dropped off, but I was saying it looked like that summer, in addition to the to this tiny base frog collection, you did several other things on base as well through that summer, including the one that kind of sounded like the work you had been doing in 21, the based on-chain cubes. So more of like a
Yeah.
generative kind of geometry collection, and a couple other things. So talk to us. What else did you do after tiny base frogs that summer?
All right, let me pull up my thing. Yeah, that summer I did a few projects. So based on-chain cubes was just like a little generative art. I think it's the first on-chain generative art piece on base.
Okay.
Um, and then I was on such a, what do you call it? I haven't done like since I left for a few years and came back. I felt like I had always like potential creative energy, you
Okay. It's
know?
all pen up.
So
Yep.
I made like four collections in like a week, right?
Oh,
I
nice.
did the time-based frogs, and then I dropped in 2 days based on chain cubes, and in another few
Yep.
days I dropped like I don't, it's not in this link tree, but I dropped another collection called like Summer Flowers. Um,
Okay.
and it was awesome because like I started a new account, dailofrog on Twitter,
Yep.
and it had like I don't know, like 5 yeah, followers or whatever. And then, I was really kind of just like shit posting and just talking about on-chain art on like my Twitter.
Yep.
And then Jesse picked up on my Twitter and just started like retweeting everything. Because back then,
Oh wow.
it was super new, like the
Yeah.
whole like base and everything. And then for me, I was kind of like bringing all this like this like energy into the space. And then I think I'm very grateful for him because he's able to kind of amplify my account and message and really kickstart my this like little frog run that I'm having.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. And I think that's a good like kind of tip to any creators out there that are listening, or people building stuff out there, is why would Jesse have grabbed onto your work early on? It's because you were doing something cool and new and interesting on his chain that he was launching, right? Like, and like
Yeah,
and it's a great opportunity to stand. It doesn't sound like that's what your goal was, but obviously, like if somebody is trying to get attention, that's a great opportunity to do it when something's launching. Be there first, do something interesting and innovative and creative, and get it out there. And obviously, you were able to do that, and it worked out for you.
yeah, it was awesome. It's like a whole new. It was basically the start of the next cycle. I think when base
Yeah.
dropped, roughly around there. So it was like all these people kind of flooding into the ecosystem, a new platform. Like base was like getting a lot of momentum really quickly. It just had this really fun like creative indie punk energy. I was really attracted to that just general emotional aesthetic that was going on around the launch of base.
Yep.
Honestly, I feel like recently with base, there's so much like drama and weirdness that's going on. I feel like a bit lost a bit of that, but I'm hoping that it kind of returned back to its kind of like indie crypto punk kind of culture that it had when it first started.
Yeah, we tend to go in those cycles, right? Like as different types of people move in with different objectives, and the vibe shifts, if you will. Um,
Yeah, no, it happens.
yep.
It's not. It's just natural, right? Things kind of solidify, become formalized. There's like business partners and like people kind of, like deals and things. I totally get it, but I love the raw creative energy, like unbridled, just like newness of everything. It just felt fun.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So that it's like, is that what kind of drove you to start exploring the other chains? Because that's the other thing that you've done that I find fascinating is you definitely like you seem to have a home on base, or at least you've done a lot of work there. But then you've done ordinals, and you've done blast, and you've done hyper EVM, and unichain, et cetera, et cetera. So is that like are you out there hunting for that feeling again, or what is it that made you jump into all those chains?
A bit, yeah. I guess I never thought about that way, but
Mm.
each culture is like or each chain is like its own like country, has its own
Yep.
like culture, its own people, its own like jokes, memes, and it's
Yep.
just kind of interesting. Like, the base vibe is very different than like the hyper liquid EVM vibe.
Absolutely. Yep.
And when you launch a collection on there, especially like myself who I launched like the very first collection on Unichain, one of the very first PFP collections on Abstract, the very first collection on Ink and Blast,
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the first. You kind of get a sense really quickly of like who the people are and what their vibe is.
Yep.
And it kind of like I view myself a little bit like an explorer, right? Like you go on a new space, and kind of like present these artifacts to like the community, right?
Yeah.
And to see how people react and the way they talk to you, the way they interact with you is like it's very different per chain.
Is there any like particular interaction that came from one of these launches on a new chain that stands out to you? Like any like it was surprising to you, or interesting to you in some other way?
Oh yeah, the Hyper Liquid EVM launch, the
Okay.
Gems,
Yep.
which is the previous collection that launched prior to the recent OK computers.
Yep. I'm
Yeah, I
just
mean, like
looking right
I
now.
just
Yeah.
dropped it, no hype. I literally just like, hey, I'm going to drop something. I tweeted like, just go to my Discord to find information.
Yep.
and it just minted out really quick, and then it just started running. It went from, the mid price one hype to like 24 hype, like
Yeah,
one
it
one
went
or two
nuts.
days.
Yep.
Yeah, and now it's like cooled down.
Yeah,
Um,
the hippios
but
grabbed onto it right away, and it seemed to run it up. I got lucky on that one because I found you through the Unichain mint, the tiny ass unicorns. That was the
oh
first
yeah,
one
yeah.
that I did. I thought that was a cool concept. We'll jump to that in a second because I want to talk about
Okay.
that concept as well. And then so I was following you on Twitter at that point, and I had just started really messing around in Hyper EVM, and I caught this one and was able to mint. I think I minted a good one too. I have like I think it's like the number 10 rarity, one of the orange. I don't even see it on the thing here. It's not one of the ones on screen. It's just kind of like a cutout edge orange one. It's pretty cool. So
Oh,
I
cool,
got
cool.
lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like the hyper EVM hypos, that culture is like it's awesome, right? It's
Yeah.
very intense, very like
Yes. Agreed.
very
They're
like motivated, strong opinions. If they
yep.
like something, they really like, it, and then everyone like kind of like one of the guy, I think MB, it was one like a huge collector. He started
Okay.
collecting the gems, and then like
Yep.
everyone kind of started collecting gems, and then everyone saw that they're clicking, they started collecting. It's just like, and then they created a group chat, and they just like, it's just like the way they talk, the way they move is like a unit. It's like
Yeah. No
militarized in
doubt.
some way.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I think it's awesome. It's like
Okay,
little
so that one was
on-chain
fun. I could see
tribes.
that being fun, and like I kind of had the same vibe from Hyper EVM too. Like when I got in there and just started messing around with the different collections for about a week, that was kind of all I was doing. Just because of exactly what you
Mm.
said. Like, well, one, it was new and it's fun, but there was just a lot of energy and there was like kind of a lot of shit talking going on there, and I was having a good time with it, so I hung out. I've calmed down a little bit on that chain for the last little while, but it's a I'll be back there because it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I want to
Yeah,
jump
I think.
over.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to say, the hyper liquid, I'm very bullish on. Just I honestly did not know very much about it,
Yeah.
and then everyone like people would just DM me all the time, "Yo, dailofrog, when hyper liquid, when hyper." I got it so much that I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put these like gems on. I've been thinking about like, how they have like ether rocks from the last cycle.
Yep.
Like every chain has like the OG like rock collection, right?
Yep.
And for me, I kind of want to do something like rocks, but then like shinier, right? So I went with just gems, just very simple gems,
Yep. No
just no roadmap,
utility,
and
no
just
roadmap,
shiny
just too
rocks, right?
shiny. Yep.
Yeah, 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 just shiny rocks, and then
Yep.
people like, I think there's like part of the lizard brain that just attracts to like shiny things, and I think people kind of hook people in, especially in the,
Yeah.
the launch of it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it, and I like the throwback because this is kind of like the same statement always with the rocks, right? No utility, no roadmap, just rocks. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like a nod to the culture there too. I like it.
yeah. None
Um,
of the thing that I do has roadmap, no utility. There's no like promise, no token that drops, or no
yep.
ERC20 token. I feel like all that stuff is just like grift. To be honest, like it doesn't matter. Collections can have
Yeah.
Telegram, no Telegram, Discord or not, utility road. It doesn't matter because everything just like it's just about the vibe. That's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
for
Right
me,
on.
I don't promise anything, and then I think people kind of caught on to like what I'm doing. At first, I dropped tiny base frogs, the base on chain flowers, and then people are like really angry at me, right? Just like dilution.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
releasing too much at like a small pay, which I kind of get.
Yeah.
Like when you think of artists, like they drop their like monolithic equity, right? This is like the
Yep.
thing that I'm gonna pump forever. That's what people think of when they think of like NFT culture. But for me, I really view my body of work or my artistry as like a musician dropping albums, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not just gonna drop one album. Beatles aren't just gonna do like the first album and just like leave, right? It's like they're gonna
Right.
constantly, or Radiohead, they just like they're evolving, they're thinking new things, they're like experimenting with stuff. And this is the state of my, my artwork now or my craft. And then in a few months, like this is the state of my craft now. I
Yep.
feel like the culture really needs to evolve in a way that allows artists to really start to experiment more in this way and just like keep evolving, keep growing, and then not just being yelled at every time they try to do something different.
Yeah, I mean
So
it's a silly concept when you think of it as when you think of it as a piece of art or just an artwork. Like, why wouldn't you do another one? And if you were doing if you were doing one of one artworks, I think people would just immediately assume that. But maybe because
yeah,
it's launched as a collection, they think it's going to be like, oh, is this? Yeah, like you said, like what's the utility? Is there going to be a Discord behind it? Am I going to get alpha? Am I going to get this? So you can evolve. Is there going to be a game? Right? Like they think they're going to buy this gem, and I think like this, like your collections mint out very like reasonable prices, right? And I think the gem, if I'm not mistaken, was that $1 or like one hype or something like that? It
it's
was
one
something
hype,
very,
one hype.
yeah, one hype. So it was, inexpensive collections. I don't know why somebody would expect to like drop a hype on something and have it turn into like a city or something, right? Like it's a
One
strange
Lambo.
expectation that NFT collectors have sometimes, for sure. But
Yeah,
it sounds like you've got everyone's expectations managed at this point. That this is what you're gonna keep doing this, and if they're interested, they should follow along, and if not, they can
yeah,
not.
yeah. I would assume like, I guess if I were to think about like dailofrog collector thesis, it would be like
Mm-hmm.
everything that he drops is going to be full of heart. For me, I like to
Yeah.
drop things that are like in good faith, right? That's like innovative, either like mechanically or just innovative, like idea wise,
Yeah.
artistically, just something different. That's one. Two is like it's going to be fully on chain. So whatever you collect is just you're going to have in your wallet forever as long as the chain exists, right? As long as
Mm-hmm.
base keeps running, building blocks, like you can assume that like tiny base frogs will live on for the rest of eternity, right?
Yep.
And yeah, 3 dev, it's just going to be like I guess you kind of on this like journey of like new innovation and like exploration as well. Because every collection I do, I try to like do a little bit different or a little bit better. And then the OK Computers, I think, was kind of like the culmination of a lot of like research and efforts.
Yeah, that one's
And
cool. We're going there. I want to jump. I'm going to take one hop in between there though, because I have it all queued up already, and we just mentioned it. Is
okay,
the tiny ass unicorns, which was a new concept as well with the DN404. So, just talk to us about that. Like, what is that? What is DN404, and what was the concept? What were you going for here with Unichain?
yeah, DN404 is like fractionalized NFTs. So it's like a hybrid between like the ERC 721 and ERC 20, which means that you can have an NFT, a full NFT, which is 1 unit, or you could fractionalize it into, like tiny pieces that become like a token.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a cool way to provide liquidity into, and NFTs usually they usually exist in like very low liquidity environments, right? But if you can like fractionalize them, put them onto like an AMM, like Uniswap, then it becomes like this very liquid concept. And for me, I thought, you know, Uniswap I've been using forever, right? Since 2020, whatever. And when they announced their chain, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, really interesting. And I definitely want to drop something there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about like, I kind of don't want to do ERC 20, but I feel like Uniswap, it's all about ERC. It is about ERC 20s. So I think like a
Mm-hmm.
cool compromise in this like context would be to drop a ERC 404. So it still has like my artwork, but also like it could be traded as, like a token, which I think is like predominantly the culture of Uniswap itself. And
Yep.
yeah, like a few months, like 5 months before they launched, they like had someone like leaked the mainnet RPC just for like a little window, like 2 hours. And I just happened to be on my PC with the editor open for some reason. I was like, oh shit, this is my time. I deployed it. The tiny ass unicorns, like way before mainnet launch, right? And then instantly, like, the team freaked out and like shut down the RPC. So it was kind of existing in this like frozen state, like this cryogenic
Okay.
state for a few months. And then when they finally launched, yeah, finally launched, we had a collection of 5,000 and just minted out really quickly because,
Yep.
first NFT, first 404, fully on chain, two unicorns. You know, I think people just fuck with it.
I was wondering how you did it so fast because it was like it's somewhat complex of a launch, I would imagine. Like, had to be some work to it, and it was ready
Yeah.
like immediately. So that makes sense now that you had the leak there, and you got the head start.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
these ones, so this, like I said, this is the one where I found you. One of my group chats, someone shared it. I was like, that's cool, and I grabbed 3 of them, and like, so the concept is basically is if you have a full unit, like a one of the token, like if you have zero point 0.9 of
Yeah.
the token, you just have 0.9 of the token. You don't have an actual image or an NFT. Once you hit one, you have that image in the NFT. Like, is it that
Yeah.
like there's 5,000 images on chain, and then like how does it decide? How does the protocol or the contract or whatever decide which image I get based on my collection of the token? If
It's
that
all random.
question even makes
So
sense.
yeah, like all 5,000 unicorns, they're layered. They're not just like one unit that I upload. Each unicorn isn't just like a custom art. It's like I uploaded all the traits, so all the body shapes, all the eyes, all the mouth, and all every all the accessories, right? They all exist like separately as layers. And when someone mints, it like kind of generates a bunch of random numbers, and it's through like a lottery system chooses like, okay, I'm gonna use this hat, this eyes, this body shape, this like body color, and just kind of combines them on chain through like a rendering custom rendering engine that I built.
Okay.
Um,
And does that
yeah.
like will they remix? So if so I have 3, right? If I sell zero point 0.5 of my token to somebody else who has zero point 0.5 of a token, and then they have the full token, does it
Hmm.
kind of remix a new one for them on the fly?
No, I thought about it when I was making it. There was the option to remix it. So if I like had one token, like say like I send zero point 0.1 to a different wallet, so now I have like zero point 0.9, zero point 0.1
Mm-hmm.
on a different wallet,
Yep.
it like fractionalizes, right? And
Yep.
when I send it back, it becomes a whole one. Like, does the art revert back to where it was, or does it give me like a new one? The answer is it just gives you back the original one, you know? And the
Got it.
reason why I do that is because I think people like, especially in NFTs, I don't think they like to see too much flux within like the trait set, rarities or
Yeah,
whatever.
especially if
So
you
if like
picked one
everything,
out that you liked, right?
yeah, if you
Yeah.
like one because of like, I don't know, some percent chance that the rarity kind of like manifested, and then
Yeah.
everything keeps changing all the time, I think people would be unhappy. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
Okay. No, very cool. Very cool. So, real quick before I jump off of this one, like, what is the culture of Unichain? Because this is literally the only thing I've done on there. Is there like a community there? Is there a vibe? Is there a culture growing there?
I think TV, honestly, like TVL is still quite low.
Yeah.
Like we're still like number one NFT by volume on Unichain, and
Okay.
top probably like top 5 or 10 on Unichain deck screener. So like the ERC20 trade view.
Okay.
But our like liquidity and like volume is super low, and I think the chain just not has not gotten that like, hot ball of money and attention that it that deserves yet. So the
Gotcha.
culture is like pretty. I would say it's like nascent.
Okay. Fair enough. That makes sense. Just because I haven't heard much about it. Obviously I heard about
Yeah.
these, but I just haven't heard anything else that has pulled me back there yet.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm hanging on to my unicorns for now. We'll see what happens over there. Maybe I'll be
I think
experimenting soon enough.
I think the thesis around Unichain is that it's supposed to be like a liquidity super hub for entire DeFi, right? Like extremely fast block
Mm-hmm.
times and just like an incredible like trading user experience. But I just think um, maybe that's just not enough of a like feature for liquidity to flow into it. I did see
Yeah,
like they're getting some more like TVL. I think they're incentivizing usage, maybe through a unit token or something. So I did see like a lot of pickup. So it would be interesting
gotcha.
where it lands like in a year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a well-known protocol in general, and there's a lot of holders
Hmm.
of their governance token, and all that. So like, it's not like a small outfit trying to do something new. It's a big guy. So it's definitely got a chance, I would think, just in that regard. We'll have to wait and see. So I'm gonna take one quick pit stop before we go to OK Computers, just because I think
Okay.
they're hilarious. Is the derplets on Abstract. Also, I love Abstract, so
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
stop there. But these guys, is their utility just that they fart?
No, it's just, like I think that one was just like a little like comedic relief. I think a lot of my
Okay.
collections, like I frame it really like seriously, right? It's like on-chain forever artifacts, art and long live on-chain art. But this one is like it's just like the piece is just like, oh, you click to fart.
Yep.
And their first like abstract PFP collection, so it's just the way to design derplets, there's all these like little animals like drooling, it's just very like silly, right?
It
Just
is.
having fun.
So this one I grabbed just because I saw it on Abstract, and I was like, "Oh, Dialo's got a collection here too." And I grabbed one, and I was sitting on it, and it was literally just like a week or two ago. Somebody pointed out to me that they farted, and now I like
Oh
them
yeah,
both.
yeah.
So, so I don't know if the listeners can
Yeah.
hear the farting. It's not playing for me, but when you click on them, they toot. You can go to Magic Eden and do it in the marketplace as well. Kind of neat, and obviously, Abstracts is hot right now, so I like things on Abstract. That place definitely has a vibe. So I'm going to jump
Yeah,
over
for sure.
just because I think we'll probably spend a minute on it. Is the OK Computers, which was the most recent launch. Let me find my link here. And these ones, I love these ones. I love the art. I love the concept. And I don't fully even know what you got going on yet, but it sounds like you got some new stuff coming. Share. So here we're
Yeah.
on I have the OpenSea page open. That's where the link takes me. But talk us through this. What's going on with the OK Computers?
Yeah, I think the OK Computers narrative has a lot of interesting like plot points. Right? It's like the first one, the genesis of the collection, it was minted through Banker. Banker is like this AI agent where you could basically tweet, "Hey Banker, mint me an OK Computer," and it'll mint, an OK Computer to your wallet that's connected to your X account.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought the UX of it is just so awesome, right? Just like before, you kind of need like a computer science degree to like sign a transaction, like go to the button, click, sign into your wallet, put the seed phrase, and then go to the
Yep.
website, connect your wallet, mint, sign a trans. It's just like so much like hassle, right? And for me, I was like, what if there's a way for people to just mint using natural language, using whatever they're familiar with, just like Twitter. Hey banker, send mint me an OK computer, and it just like behind the scenes just figures all that shit out and just like sends it to you, right?
Yep.
And also like the social aspect of it, seeing a whole collection mint out on the timeline. I think it was just such an inspiring idea for me
Yeah.
that like when Banker and I connected, I just kept shilling, or not, Deployer, who's the creator of Banker,
Okay.
and I connected, I just kept shilling him like, imagine this, imagine a full NFT collection minting on time, imagine, like better distribution, because you have to have at least 100 followers on Twitter. Uh,
Oh yeah, that's a
better
good point. Yeah.
distribution than like bots or it's like whitelist farms, just minting out collections and just having uneven distribution. Just imagine this like future. That's where I want to go, and I think, yeah, just seeing it mint out through the timeline. A lot of people, they don't live in America. They live like in Asia or Europe, and
Mm-hmm.
and and all they had to do is schedule a tweet.
Yeah.
The mint opens at 11 o'clock. They schedule a tweet at 11 or 11:01. Hey, computer. They could like go to sleep, they could go to sleep, and then when they wake up, the OK computer would just laugh or land
Send
softly in
tweet.
their wallet during the
Yeah.
during the night. And yeah, I think that so there's like that, like the genesis of the collection. I think was really interesting.
Yep. Agreed.
Um,
I loved it.
and then I think that's what drew a lot of people in initially. Just like, oh shit, like
Mm-hmm.
Banker and dailofrog are doing a collaboration. Oh shit, they're gonna mint it on the timeline. It's just super cool. I want to be a part of this, right? It's just like this
Yep.
whole like performative art of it. I think people like fucked with, and then they want to be involved.
Yep.
And then when people started minting, right? They're like, oh, let me check out my NFT and OpenSea. They saw like the computer, OK computer was moving. So if you don't mind clicking on one of them,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll grab this guy here.
um,
Was I not share? Hold on.
I was
I'm
not
in the
really
wrong tab.
sharing.
There you go. I was sharing the wrong one, or clicking
Oh,
on the wrong one. I didn't
oh
realize
yeah,
I had
okay,
two
there it is.
open. Yep.
Yeah, it's like it's not really moving from what I see.
Oh, he's bouncing on my screen and on my
Okay,
yeah, he might just
Okay,
be
I see it now. I
something.
see it now. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, they're like, oh my gosh, it's like an animated PFP.
Yeah. Gives
And then
it some
people realize,
personality.
yeah, and people when they click on it, so click on it, people like freaking out. Holy shit, this is
Yeah.
like a terminal. you know,
Yeah.
all this is like done 100% on chain, and I think people like kind of freaked out and like got a lot of attention during the during the minting. And I think it really opened like after the mint, a lot of people started to DM me, hey, wouldn't it be cool if like the terminal did this, or how like I could play World of Warcraft, or like you know like is there a way for me to like play RuneScape on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I showed like a video of me, like I ported Doom onto it,
I saw
and I
that.
think people went like crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like for me as a creator, it's awesome because I'm very proud that like I captured this like feeling of magic for some people, or like they
Yeah.
feel
You
inspired to like.
inspired them to get creative, right? Like your creative work made others be creative. I would think that that would be very rewarding.
Yeah, and I even though like I complain, I kind of jokingly complain all the time. Like even though most people set their OpenSea royalties to 0%, I still feel like people are inspired by this concept, and I don't want to like squander this like magical feeling that people have. So I feel
Yeah.
like really inspired as a developer to build on top of it. And then this next update that I'm dropping, so like the terminal right here, even though it's like on chain, is upgradable.
Yep. Yeah. It
So
looks
this
like there's are these some new commands here already? I feel like I
no,
didn't
I
see
didn't
all
upgrade
these.
it.
Okay.
So you can see it says running OK terminal version 0.4, right? It's not in 1.0 yet.
Okay.
And then I like this is just like the genesis of the collection, right? Like a proof of tech that like this on-chain terminal. That's like I imagine that to be like the appetizer of this whole collection, right?
Yep.
The main course, this what makes it all like actually like elevate in a conceptual point of view, I think will come very soon to my 1.0 update. So
Okay.
I was able to
Uh,
like have a technological breakthrough where I'm able to have these like bots all within like a on-chain communication network. So like if you imagine these bots, like most people the conceptual model of like an NFT are these are just like individual tokens, mostly just like static JPEGs, right?
mm-hmm.
For me, OK computers, I think people's mental models like, oh, these are like on-chain, robots. If you click on them, there's like a cute little gimmicky terminal, right? I could
Mm-hmm.
type move, so you type move, press enter.
Oh, the wrong window again. All right. So he turned into a little ASCII cow and laughed at you.
Yeah. Or you press run, and it makes like a little 3D engine. This is like
Yeah,
I
this I
managed to
thought
do
was
it.
cool. So this is like its own little generative piece inside of the computer, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is cool, but this is just like I feel like this is just the tip of this whole iceberg, right?
Okay.
Imagine if all these OK computers were all interconnected in this like massive on-chain interlinked social network, all within
Okay.
this NFT itself, all within this like little
Okay,
window.
internet. That sounds incredible.
OK internet, like OK botnet, you know?
Love it. Yeah. So that's
And
the breakthrough that you've cracked or you're in the process of cracking right now.
yeah, I'm in the process of developing this, and I feel like if this is realized, I think it's gonna be really cool because all this entire collection is all within the NFT itself. All the functionality, all the usability, all the utility, and the future upgrades, the social stuff, like it's like a botnet MMO, all existing within the NFT itself. Um, I think people like their mental model of this like OK computers is like kind of a gimmicky art thing, but I
Yep.
think once people really see like the potential, I think people will be excited, hopefully, because I'm super excited about this thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I was uh, blown away by the art. First of all, like they like I said, personality, right? They're bouncing. they're not all happy. One of mine is I actually minted 666, and he looks very angry, and he's pointing a gun at me. So that
Uh,
one's not happy, but the other one's very happy, and they just like have this cheeky personality to them that bounce, pulls you in. But the fact that you've got all of this code built into it and that it's doing things and you've got more stuff coming, I'm blown away by it. And I think like the whole concept of doing it with Banker and everything else, I agree with you. Like it was a nice performative piece and it generated a really awesome output. So yeah, I
yeah,
love this collection.
yeah, I think it's cool. And then the cool part is like it's like a kitchen sink of just like tech. So like it's very easy for me to add something. I can add like a little game, a
Mm-hmm.
little chat thing, a little, all these little apps. Like now that I have the terminal running, and then once I have like the on-chain communication like protocol layer kind of
Yep.
running,
Yep.
then all these things can like talk to each other somehow and interact and just like be this like web of like of a community. And I think, yeah, I just can't wait to see how people interact with it.
That's awesome. When are you thinking we might see some updates?
I'm trying to get out soon, hopefully this week.
Hmm,
It just depends. I was hoping
that's
to
pretty
work on a
soon.
bit more,
Yeah,
taking care of my daughter a bit, so it's been
sure.
a little harder work, but I think once she's well and I'm able to find time, I think I could just grind through real quick.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And what else? Like, is this the main thing right now? Do you got anything else in the hopper?
Oh, I have a lot of things in the hopper.
I figured you probably are one that has like 100 unfinished projects at all times, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I have quite a few dozen actually, unfinished
yeah,
projects. Some of them I just let die. It's been fun just exploring it.
yep,
And there's some things that I kind of cook on it slowly. So I have like games, like on-chain games. I have like art collections, a generative art piece, just like a few things that I want to do.
mm-hmm.
And it just depends on like the vibe. I do want
Yeah.
to do stuff with Banker a lot more because I found it to be so cool.
It was
Like
cool.
imagine, yeah, yeah, imagine like a on-chain social game that people all play through Twitter,
Yeah,
connecting with like base chain or just like if I don't know. There's a lot of potential there that's very exciting.
yeah, yeah. You're pulling a lot of things together there. You're pulling in the AI, the Web3 stuff, the social aspects of it. Pulling it all together, and inherently it would be a performative piece again to do something like that. So, yeah, I think that's pretty exciting. All right. Well, I know that
Yeah.
you need to wrap up here, so I don't want to overstay my welcome. But I just want to say again, like, love the work. Super impressed with experimentation. I think that people like you are what makes this space fun for me, and what excites me about this and experimenting. And we talked about this a little bit in the beginning. Is we're obviously still trying to figure out what this technology is, right? Like, there's plenty of use cases that are pretty obvious right now, but there's so much here that is like we just barely scratched on the surface, I think. And I really, really appreciate people like you who are pushing those boundaries, trying new stuff, experimenting, just putting it out there and doing it rapid fire, man. I mean, to look at your link tree and see like the number of projects that you've done over the last 2 years since you've gotten really kind of reignited in the space again, just super impressive. So
Thank you.
as a collector, as a just appreciator of the space, I thank you for your work. And yeah, you've got a fan in me, and anything that we could do here at the show to help you out, we'll always be here for you. Just let me know.
Yeah, thank you so much for your kind words, man. It means a lot. And yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been fun. Thanks
Absolutely,
for giving me a
anytime.
platform to chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you bet. And I will keep my eyes peeled for Banker. I'm sorry, OK Computer updates. I'm excited for that, and I'll certainly be sharing those out. And I want to say thank you to those of you who hung out with us for the past just about an hour here. Check out all of dailofrog's work. I had the link tree up the whole time. Obviously, the easiest place to find him is going to be on X. And you'll get the link tree link there. But follow along; it's fun, great stuff. So I implore you all to check it out. And yeah, that's it. That's it for our show today. We'll be back again on Thursday. And we're here every Tuesday and Thursday with new live shows with awesome people in the space. So do check us out. And one last time, thank you, dailofrog.
Thanks again for having me. Have a great day.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.